Interject Systems, and others. Here's the internal document, folks. We're going to be going over all of this. Well, Wayne, as this unfolds, we'll continue to check in with you at WayneMadsenReport.com and link it up at Infowars.com. Anything else you've got to add?
We're expecting this to peak as it did in 1918 in October. Probably the first week it'll peak, but we're already seeing surges in places like Minnesota, Washington State, college campuses.
And you're saying the intel is this is man-made and being done by design?
This was man-made, absolutely. This is coming from a top virologist who spent since April first showed up in Mexico, has been spending all of the time.
Stay there.
Okay.
Stay there. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to go to Dr. Conrad in Utah, Dr. Darren in Kansas, Bill in Los Angeles, Matt in the UK, Ronnie in Texas. We're needing your intel, what you're hearing about forced inoculations, quarantines. It's all in the executive order. The government says they may implement it. We're looking for signs that they are going to, or are they not going to? This whole thing is staged. That much is clear. The question is, what is the full extent of that? And I have 2 video clips we're going to play before we go to those calls. But everybody stay there because I want to talk to you. But I've got to get to these clips now. And that's a video clip, after we talked to Wayne Madsen, of a lady who says she's in the military training with the CHIPs in California for quarantines and checkpoints. We checked out all her info. We're trying to get her on. But the transponder trackers she talks about, those have been issued. The Army and Marine Corps working with CHIPs in checkpoints. We confirmed that 4 months ago. We didn't know why. Very illegal. And so that's what's so scary. And then we have a Texas peace officer saying the same thing from a month and a half ago in a video. So those are coming up. First her clip, then the calls, then to the other clip. Let's go ahead and go back to Wayne Madsen. Wayne, you went to the conference. You got there. You saw this. You confirmed a lot of what our other reporter was saying who was there and then got kicked out, and saying that the guy from 9/11 was getting very agitated over reporters being there and wanted them gone. That's why he said he was kicked out. You are saying, though, and you said this first here, and then it came out in the BBC, scientists say they believe H1N1 has been manufactured. But you're saying manufactured and released deliberately to just make money off vaccines, or is this something bigger?
Well, from what I understand from a person in the research community that's been spending all the time looking at where this came from, they may have used a human guinea pig to actually use they call it the mixing vessel. They couldn't use a pig because it didn't come from pigs to humans. It didn't come from birds to humans. It came human to human. That a human may have been the mixing vessel for this particular pandemic. And possibly that was an individual in Mexico, because they were the first cases we saw out of Mexico in the spring. And but all focus should be on the little Inuit village of Fort Brevig, Alaska, because that's where the corpse of a young woman who died in 1918. She was quite obese, so there was usable tissue because she was basically frozen in the permafrost. Those tissue samples were taken to the Armed Forces Pathology Institute in Rockville, Maryland, and I mean, this is the ground zero. Is that little Inuit village? It's apparently the village elders at first, when they went up there to get samples. They also went to Spitsbergen in Norway, but they didn't find anything there. So they were actually looking for samples of the 1918 flu. They brought this dead virus back to life.
And we've been talking about that for a decade. A lot of people have really been concerned about that. And the virologist, as you said, the genetic engineers are saying it looks like it was engineered from that. What's the goal then? Do they want to release something that kills 1 billion people so that they can reduce population? What's the point of this?
Well, I mean, if you look at this from a purely, criminal investigation standpoint, you've got companies standing to make a bundle of money on the vaccines. Obviously, you've got wrongful death, issues here, being that this is man-made. So where is the investigation? And now that I've found out that part of the research was funded by the Japanese government, hopefully the new prime minister, who's not, believe me, this is the first non-oligarch party government in Japan since the end of World War II, except for one brief time. The new party over there is full of a lot of reformists. Prime Minister Hanayama and his government is in a better position to investigate this, I think, than our administration.
Well, yeah, the number 3 guy in the Japanese government's been on this show now, and he believes 9/11's an inside job.
That's right. This is the Democratic Party of Japan. It's a left-of-center government. They don't buy into the U.S. propaganda, and being that there is a Japanese link to this, I think they stand a much better chance to look at this from their end, because there was money that went into this research from the Japanese government,
but it appears this flu is not that deadly. So if it's connected to the old super flu, again, something's weird here.
Well, deadly for some and not for others. I mean, what was it last week? A 11-year-old girl came home from school on a Thursday sick. She was dead on Sunday. No pre-existing conditions. That's another protocol I think they're putting in place. Saying,
well, yeah, the flu of 1918, as you know, killed young, healthy people with the hemorrhagic autoimmune response in the lungs. Wow. Well, Wayne Madsen, thank you so much for spending time with us. We appreciate your great insight.
Good to be with you, Alex.
WayneMadsenReport.com. Our sites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. We're going to come back out of break. We're going to play this lady in the military's clip about checkpoints. Then we're going to come back and play the other clip after that from a Texas peace officer saying something similar. Then Dr. Conrad, Dr. Darren, and many others that want to comment on what's happening. Stay with us.